Today I am running a live exploratory session on the MIT website. This comes directly from a viewer request to test a real tech university site. I will start by defining a clear exploratory charter, understanding how prospective students find programs, admissions info, and deadlines. I will timebox the session, explore without predefined test cases, and capture risks, usability issues, and unanswered questions as I go. At the end, I will show you how to turn the notes into actionable bugs. This is the full exploratory testing lifecycle applied to a real high-traffic site. There are a few tools that I will be using in this video to help me test. If you go to my website, test.glitchitsystem.com, on the left you can see there's an exploratory testing section. Here, there's a test charter generator and an exploratory session. I'll be using both of these in this video today. Feel free to follow along if you like. I'll also be using my Jira board for creating the bugs. If you don't have a Jira board, you can just use my bug report creator at the bottom here. Fill in all the details of your bug and you can have it generate a report for you. Let's get started with the charter. Let's first give this a title. I'll call mine Explore MIT website. For the objective and mission, I'll say evaluate how effectively a prospective student can discover academic programs, admissions requirements, deadlines, and next steps on the MIT website. For focus areas, I chose program discovery and navigation, admission information clarity and completeness, content consistency across pages, usability, accessibility, and search effectiveness, broken links, outdated content, or conflicting information. I'll also add a scope here of undergraduate and graduate admissions pages, program and department pages, global navigation, search, and footer links, and mobile and desktop layouts. And I also want to define what's out of scope, which is authenticated systems and student portals, application submission workflows, and backend systems and integrations. For the risk and concern section, these are going to include questions like, can a first-time visitor quickly understand where to start? Are deadlines and requirements easy to find and unambiguous? Does navigation support multiple user paths without confusion? And are accessibility basics met for public academic site? In the data and persona section, I included public website content only, desktop browser and mobile emulator, notes, screenshots, and screen recordings. For the heuristics section, for tours, follow common user journeys such as prospective undergraduate, graduate applicant, and international student. Landmarks include evaluate clarity of global navigation, menus, breadcrumbs, and page hierarchy. For consistency, check terminology, labels, and structure across admissions and program pages. For error states, look for broken links, missing pages, unclear redirects, or outdated content. For accessibility, assess keyboard navigation, heading structure, contrast, alt text, and readable link text. For information sent, verify that links and headings clearly indicate what the user will find next. And for content freshness, look for outdated dates, conflicting deadlines, or deprecated programs. I'm going to set my duration to be 30 minutes for today. And in the notes constraints section, I'm going to put an exit criteria of time box complete, key risks and usability issues identified, bugs and observations documented with evidence and impact. Obviously, there's a lot going on in this charter. You may want to take pieces of this charter and break it down into smaller subcharters that focus in on key areas. I'm just listing everything out here today as a demonstration on what you can do. Obviously, I probably can't hit all of these checkpoints in 30 minutes, but we'll see how far we get. Once this video is done, feel free to take this charter, continue exploring the website, and see what additional observations that you find. I'm done with this charter, so I'll generate this, and I'll download a copy. In the exploratory session tool, we'll call this Explore MIT, tester's name, put your name, environment, I'm using Windows, Chrome, related charter, we called that Explore MIT website. Target duration was 30 minutes. And after that, we can just add our observations here as we go. You can see we have types of observation, bug, question, idea, or note, and looks like we're ready to go. So I'll just hit the start button. Okay, so first thing that I like to do whenever I start testing on a website is I like to open the dev tools. So right click, inspect, click on the network tab here, because that'll activate the network recording. And you can also take a peek at console here. You can already see some overlap on the main homepage when I have dev tools open. But if I pull this down a little bit, you can see that that footer is moving around. So let me actually close dev tools and I want to see if that happens just by resizing the window. So I'm going to push this up here and yes, it does. So you can see that this actually does happen when I'm resizing the window. This is probably not a major issue because usually people don't do their windows resizing like this, but it's still a little bit odd. So what I'll do at this point is I'll go ahead and take a screenshot of this. So I'll capture the whole screen, including the website URL. I went ahead and created an MIT folder and I'll just save this as bug_resize. I'll call that socials and I'll put underscore before and I'll just copy that name because I'll need that in a second. So there's the before and then I'll push this up to recreate the bug, capture image, and I'm going to actually annotate this a bit. Arrows. I can do a rectangle here and we'll call that good. And then we'll just save that and I'll call this after. So back over here, we'll do a bug here. and we'll call this severity. We'll say this is low. Doesn't hurt anybody, and it's just a little weird. So I'll just say when screen height is reduced to, and I can actually get the screen height. So back in the dev tools, if I click on this button over here that says toggle device toolbar, make sure this is set on responsive and make sure the view looks similar to your screen, because if you have it in like mobile view, then you're not going to have that same look. So it needs to be on desktop viewport, and then just pull up this bottom part here. And notice that when I'm pulling up, you can see that this value here on the right is changing. So I can pull that up to about there. So I can say at the height of 518, it overlaps, or I can take another screenshot, but it's probably not necessary. So I'll just say 319 by 518. In the description, it says when screen height is reduced to 518, then the footer element with the social links overlaps content. We'll just go ahead and click add entry. So the entry should show up down here. And let's go back to testing. Our goal is to see if we can find admission requirements. So let's just choose computer science. Go to education. There's a bunch of information and stuff. Let's go for College of Computing. And you can see that the whole look and feel of the website changed when I went to a different college. And you can also see that the URL changed. So it's using a subdomain. So now it's computing.mit.edu. Basically, this is just a brand new website. Let me demonstrate that some more. So let me go back. If I choose engineering, once again, whole new website. So engineering.mit.edu. So you can see for these education websites, this is very typical. So you'll have a main school website, which is going to be the mit.edu. You'll have subdomains like engineering.mit.edu, which is a completely separate website. Also, School of Science will do the same thing, College of Computing, Social Humanities, Arts and Sciences. So you can see every single one of these websites is completely different. Their style different, navigation is different, content is different. So if you're testing these things, then you're going to want to test each individual website as a separate entity. Let's go back into the College of Computing and let's see if we can figure out what we need to figure out. So let's say I want to get a computer science degree. I'm going to assume that's in academics, undergraduate programs, and there we go. So under majors, here's computer science and engineering, and pretty good. So we have a degree roadmap, so it tells you what I need to know, the curriculum, and I don't know if you saw that, but this data all just popped in, but I didn't click on anything. So let me go back and let's see what happened. Computer science, we have a degree in engineering roadmap. So let me see if it's scroll. Nope, scroll didn't do it. It eventually just showed up. Let's go back into inspect and look at the console. So it looks like they have an undefined reference here, FWP, but that is not really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the network tab here. Let's go back and go back in. And before I click on the button, I'm going to hit the clear here and I'm going to change this to all. Click on this. So we have a few things that are pending here. That is probably what it was. So I think it is related to those two items that were pending. Let's see if we can navigate here. So it's this one right here, degree requirements. And yeah, so it takes a little while to render this. So it's doing a request to this endpoint here in order to get all this information for the website. Just for fun, you can grab this, copy. Let's open a new tab and you can just paste that in. So watch how long it takes. And there we go. So that is the cause of it. So this actually should show up as soon as you open the website, but it's a long running process for some reason and it shows up afterwards. So we can actually file a bug on this. So it says over here, it took 3.64 seconds to complete that request. So that's pretty slow for what it's showing because this is probably just getting information from a database and displaying it. And this information isn't really overly complex as it's not doing any operations that look complicated. So I'm not sure why this is super slow. Maybe the server is slow or something. Let's go ahead and write a bug for that. So bug, I'll call this medium. So I'll throw that URL into the artifacts URL. In the description, I'll say degree requirements request is slow, takes 3 to 4 seconds, and add entry. So that should show up down there. And let's continue. Okay, so where was I? So we found our computer science. We found our degree requirements. Next, let's see if we can find out how much stuff costs. Let's go to academics. The financial information might not be on here. Let's see what happens if I click on undergraduate programs, and that takes me to eecsmit.edu. So once again, a separate website. Let's go back. So it looks like as soon as I clicked on that computer science degree, it took me to EECS. So let's go back again. Another subdomain. So this this is getting tricky here. Just in order to do one operation, you're navigating between multiple different websites. We've gone from the MIT main website, we've gone to the computing subdomain, and then we've gone to the eecs.mit subdomain. But from this subdomain, I don't see a clear way to navigate back to the main MIT website, so that way I can find out more about financial aid for this program. As far as usability elements, this is missing a major usability element of being able to go back to the main content. Let's file that up here. We'll put this as an observation. In my description, I put no clear way to navigate back to the main MIT website in order to view financial aid info. I will put this URL in here and just click add entry. So we should have 3 things now. Okay, I went back to the main MIT website. So let's find out, here's admissions. So back on admissions, I can find out undergraduate admissions, and undergraduate admissions is not even a subdomain. It's mitadmissions.org. Okay, so you kind of get what's going on here. This is getting a little bit overwhelming. So there's no consistency across where you're going to end up when you're navigating between the sites, because every time you click on a link, you could be on a new website or a website subdomain, and you're getting a completely different user experience. So now the user has to understand what the navigation structure is, how to navigate from here to there, and then if they click on something and navigate to a different website, they may not be able to get back to where they just came from. So it's a very confusing experience. So I'll actually put that down as an observation because it's not a bug necessarily, but it's an observation. I'll say having multiple websites and subdomains makes the user experience confusing and navigation difficult. So this is basically across the board, so I'm not going to put any artifact URLs. I forgot what I was looking for. So I'm looking for how much it costs to go to school here. So I guess there's an afford option, estimate your cost. Let's see, cost and affordability, maybe. Okay, so it says medium annual price by an undergraduate who received MIT scholarship. Nope, that's not what I want. I want, how much does it cost if I actually have to pay for it? The full price of MIT education is $89,340 for the academic year. And full price is underlined here, which goes to another subdomain. It says the annual student budget is the total price of an MIT education per student per year. And here's the breakdown here. So tuition, $63K and all this stuff. And that comes out to be about $89,000. So from that, it sounds like it cost $89,000 per year to go to MIT. So for a 4-year degree, you're paying about $400K, which is a pretty decent house. But I guess if that's what you want to do, then you should go for it. Okay, so once again, I don't think I can get back to the main website. Let's click on About MIT. Getting an About MIT on the MIT admissions site, but I don't see a way to go back to the main website. I'm trapped on this new site. It's not even a subdomain anymore. So I have no other option but hit the back button until I get back to where I was. And here we go. I'm back again. So we're back to web.mit.edu. Find it funny that it's web.mit.edu and not just mit.edu. So mit.edu redirects to web.mit.edu. I didn't notice that before. So they're not actually even using their main website domain, so mit.edu at all. It just navigates to a subdomain. They live off of subdomains, and I guess every department, whether it's a college within the university or department within the university, has their own website. And like I said, this is pretty common across university sites. And also, probably one of the most frustrating things about university sites is that trying to navigate and find anything is very difficult because you're going through multiple user experiences. All right, so let's try to find one more thing. Let's go to admissions again, and let's see if we can find some deadlines. Undergraduate admissions, so apply, understanding the process. So first year applicants, let's try that one. And let's scroll down. There we go, deadlines and requirements on the right. Okay, so I guess the information isn't too difficult to find, but if you land on one of the subdomains, then you're going to get lost, because here's what I would do. I would be like, oh, does this school have computer science? So I'd go to computer science, and then like, oh, it has this stuff that I want to apply to here. So now I'm kind of stuck on the computer science domain, and I don't know how to find out how much it costs because it's not on the subdomain. I don't know what the deadlines are. I don't know about housing or anything non-specific to the computer science department. And there's nowhere on the website that tells you that you are no longer on the main domain, because if you're a normal person like somebody's mom or dad, and maybe you don't have a lot of experience understanding what these website URLs mean, you're just going to be like, oh, I clicked on this thing, but now I'm lost and I don't know how to do anything anymore. So I think the biggest problem, like I've been saying over and over again with these, is that usability is very poor. But we have about 2 minutes left on this session, so I'll just end it here, and let's go ahead and create a bug. So I'm going to create a bug in Jira first, and then I'll do one on my tools page so I can actually stop the timer here. Let's go back to here and I'll generate a summary and I'll download this. So the first bug here is when screen height is reduced to 518, then the footer element with the social links overlap the content. And a nice thing about this tool is that it gives you a timestamp, so you don't have to remember to write down exactly when something happened, because sometimes having the timestamp is critical for the bug, because then you can look into the logs and see exactly when some error happened. For this one, it doesn't matter. And my new summary is going to be social links overlap content with shorter screen height. In the description, I said when screen height is reduced to 518, then the footer elements with the links overlap content. I'm going to put in steps. I'll say 1, open web.mit.edu to reduce browser window height until social links section overlaps content. Expected is that web elements don't overlap and actual social link section overlaps at a certain height. And remember, we added a couple of screenshots, so I can just copy those in. So there's the before and there's the after. So it's very clear to see what it is. And just create it. You've made a bug. Let's do one over here. So bug report creator. Other things that we had was that degree requirements request is slow, takes 3 to 4 seconds. So I'll copy this, paste that in there. Severity, we'll leave it at medium. Priority, we'll leave it at P2, whatever. Okay, so this is Windows. Chrome, reproducibility always, yes. Description, I'll put that in there again. Steps to reproduce. So for this one, we actually tested it 2 ways. So I'll say option 1, open this URL, and then I'll say option 2, execute this request. Expected result should return data in under a second. So for performance issues on web, anything that takes longer than a second feels like forever. So typically you want things to return in less than a second. If it's going to take more than a second, especially like 3 or 4 or 5, 10, 15, whatever seconds, that's when we start introducing spinners or other UI elements to kind of distract the user and let them know that something is happening. This one is a little bit different. I don't know if you'd want a spinner, but it should just be faster because you're seeing content and then that content is being replaced by new content once it's available. So it's just a little bit jarring. So for actual result, returns data after 3 seconds. And references and URLs, I'll just skip that because I already put that in the steps to reproduce. And any additional notes, we can say, here's the timestamp, click generate report. You got your report. You can download, copy, do whatever you want with it. We also had 2 observations. So those are things that you would probably want to bring to your team and discuss, possibly put in a spike to discuss these things and see what we want to do about those. But at the moment, we're not going to specifically call them out as bugs because they're more experienced things and areas where we can improve things. And that wraps up this exploratory session on the MIT website. We started with the charter, explored user paths, captured risks and usability issues, and turned our notes into bugs. This is how a structured exploratory session works in practice. If you want to learn these skills step by step, I have a QA Foundations course available for purchase. It covers exploratory testing, charters, bug reporting, and real-world workflows. The link is in the tagged comment. Let me know if you have another website you want me to test or any other request for videos in the future. That's it. See you later.